You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron. Now here's your host, Ethan Haristadoulou.
Good morning, everybody, and a happy football Sunday, and welcome back in to the Greeks Gridiron. I'm Ethan Haristadoulou. We're about 3-ish or so hours away from kickoff, but we've got to make a prediction for Monday night's football matchup between the Arizona Cardinals and the Dallas Cowboys, as the Cardinals, once again, will be without their starting quarterback, Kyler Murray. So Jacoby Brissett is getting the go for Arizona. And for what it's worth, he's going up against a pretty lousy, I guess you should say, Dallas Cowboys defense that could be a good opportunity for him to really shine here, because we've seen some good things from Jacoby. But Dallas is obviously coming in, one of the most effective offenses in the NFL, but they're coming off a game in which they ran into the brick wall that is the Denver Broncos defense last week. So they're looking for a little bit of a bounce back themselves. Really fun, interesting matchup. I definitely one of those, like, the records aren't great, but there is definitely intrigue in the game just because of the fact that I don't think there is a very clear winner amongst either one of these two teams, even if one of them is losers of 5 straight in Arizona. So comment down below. Let me hear from you. Thoughts, opinions on the matchup. Who do you like? Who do you dislike? And why? What are you taking? As always, no betting advice here, but if you're a gambler, fire away. Let me hear from you. Your thoughts on the game. What do you like in this matchup? Always love seeing what you'll have to say. But we'll discuss this game, and we're going to start with Jacoby because, like I mentioned here, he has a good, or I guess bad defense, but a good opportunity against a bad defense to really come out and shine in this one here. Sitting on nearly 600 yards passing, he's right at 599 with another 45 yards put together on the ground as well, with 4 touchdowns and an interception. It's been a pretty solid showing so far for the Arizona Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett under center. And if you look at the game even like last week that he had against Green Bay, or a couple weeks ago, I guess I should say, the last game that they played against the Green Bay Packers, it honestly could have even been a better performance, but unfortunately the offensive line struggling against a Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary-led pass rush that is just kind of getting a little out of hand for some of these opposing offensive lines to deal with. He pressured 26 times in that game, sacked 6 times as well. If he had more time in the pocket, more along the lines of kind of how things shaped out for him against the Indianapolis Colts the week prior, there is a real possibility that Arizona comes away with a win in that game. So while the record for the Cardinals is not great, since Jacoby Brissett has taken over at quarterback for the injured Kyler Murray, he's been able to throw the ball and throw it pretty effectively. And if the O-line can hold up against the Dallas Cowboys pass rush that, for what it's worth, has not been super impressive to this point, they generate pressure, but they don't really get to the quarterback, which is interesting because they're like one of the more effective pass rushes in terms of just making players uncomfortable with their ability to generate the pressure. They just don't really get home. So they're like near top 10 in pass rush in terms of pressure, but near bottom 10 in terms of actually getting to the quarterback and taking him down. You also have a pass defense in Dallas that's sitting at about 259 yards per game allowed, which is good for second most in the NFL. 20 passing touchdowns allowed, which is a league lead, the only team currently at 20. And then they have the second highest time to throw allowed this season. So while they are generating pressure, like I said, they're not getting to the quarterback, and they're giving QBs time to operate against that defense that is not helping out a secondary that is just not in a right way at the current stage. And if they can't get after the quarterback, if they can't slow down a wide receiver room that's not super threatening, but you do have a guy like a Trey McBride you do have to worry about, and Marvin Harrison Jr., who is, and we'll kind of get into him in a little bit, but, trying to find himself in the NFL currently, despite all the talent and just praise that he had coming into the NFL as a rookie last season. It's going to be a tough going for the Dallas Cowboys in this offense, or this defense, because I do think Jacoby Brissett has been playing some good football so far. That being said, on top of that, you add in Dallas coming into this game with 6 different defensive players out in this matchup at all levels of the defense in one way or another. It could be a game where we're seeing a lot of points on the board, because I think Dallas's offense, very potent, and that's kind of where I'm going to next here with what they're able to do with all the stars that they have offensively. It's Dak Prescott at quarterback, your wide receiver duo in George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. Jake Ferguson has been extremely effective as a pass-catching tight end this year, and Javonte Williams having a bit of a career resurgence. You're going to need to put up points if you're Arizona and you want to keep pace with this team. And when you look at Dallas, it's fair to say you expect points each and every single week, and especially against this Arizona defense that's been about average to basically average, I guess you could say, as far as a unit altogether in total yards allowed, points allowed per game. They're right in the middle of the pack right there. But just it's one of those things where They do still struggle against teams that like to throw the football more than anything else when it comes to, again, league average and total numbers, but against the pass, 8th highest in passing yards allowed. Teams have been able to move the ball through the air, and again, this is the Dallas Cowboys we're talking about. Despite the fact that Javonte Williams is finding success on the ground, their bread and butter is throwing the football. It's leaning on Dak Prescott, and the way George Pickens and Dak Prescott have found their bit of rhythm that they have together, that connection's looking really strong, and of course, Dak and CeeDee Lamb is literally bread and butter for Dallas. I expect them to be just trying their best to throw the football. This is one of those games where, like, if you look at Dak Prescott's numbers when things are all said and done, if he's not pushing over 300 yards passing and like 35 plus passing attempts, I'd be kind of surprised, because it feels like this is kind of the direction they're going to go in this game here. But if you're Arizona, you've got to match that, and you have a perfect defense to do that against, and a Dallas Cowboys team that, again, just can't really do a ton to stop anybody right now. Even with the fact that, like, you're down to your 3rd and 4th string running back, I do think that this is the perfect defense to have if you're the Cardinals. The last thing I'm kind of looking at here, and this is more just singling out a player, and we kind of touched him a second ago, but I wanted to make sure we actually get into him. Marvin Harrison Jr., yet to have a single 100-yard game receiving so far this season. He did have 98 yards against Tennessee back in week number 5. This is the potential for maybe the like get right and get going game for Marvin Harrison Jr. This is like the ultimate confidence boost opportunity, if I do say so myself. I just think that with the way Dallas's defense has looked so far this season, especially against some of the better wide receivers, if Marvin Harrison Jr. has that talent and he has that ability, and Jacoby Brissett, who again has been throwing pretty well so far for Arizona in the absence of Kyler Murray, this could be the game where we finally see Marvin Harrison Jr. really start to get things clicking. And we've seen it already in flashes so far this season. I mean, his yards per reception and catch percentage is already up in comparison to last year. So things are already trending in a better direction this season than they were last season. But if there was ever a game for Marvin Harrison Jr. to step up, step in, and have himself a big game, big moment, and announce to the NFL that I'm finally here and now you need to really respect what I'm able to do as a receiver, this could be that opportunity to do so. And honestly, for his sake, I kind of hope it is, because I'm a big Marvin Harrison Jr. fan, growing up a Colts fan, obviously a huge fan of his dad. So being able to see him put it all together and maybe have that big breakout performance here for this season, that would be fantastic to see, and I'd love to see it. That being said, though, with the way this game is going to play out, I am leaning on the side of lots and lots of points. Something tells me with the current state of Arizona and where they are right now, I don't know if they have everything in the tank they'll need defensively to be able to slow down the passing attack of Dallas right now. And on the flip side, Dallas has shown that they can't really stop anybody. So I definitely think we're going to see a lot of points. This is going to be one of those, like, offenses lead the way, and it's probably coming down to, like, whoever has the ball last type of performances. But I ultimately think that I'm going to lean with the Dallas Cowboys in this game. As much as I want to be able to go with Arizona as like the underdog in this game, I do think that there's just a little too much in the tank offensively for Arizona to keep up with. That, and it also being in Dallas, makes me a little bit more comfortable leaning the Cowboys' way. If this was in Arizona, upset alert is definitely on my radar, and I honestly think it still kind of is for this game, regardless of where it is. But being in Dallas, Cowboys coming off of a game where they kind of got punched in the mouth by Denver, I think this is a good get-right game for them. And I honestly think that Arizona, unfortunately, is just kind of trending in the really wrong direction, or a really wrong direction, excuse me. That loss to Tennessee, in my eyes, potentially broke this team. And that was something that I talked about coming out of that week 5 loss, like going into week 6 when we were talking power rankings and just the team performances from that weekend. Something tells me that game might have broke this team, and I don't envision it getting much better even once Kyler Murray gets back in the fold. The injuries are really getting to this team. That collapse was just unbelievable. There's the fact that you have the team finding your head coach at one point in the season, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with that at any point. Like, there's just way too many negative things trending in the wrong direction, and I feel like Arizona's kind of falling into the gutter. If Dallas drops this game, that is going to be really damning on them too, because they are the better team in my eyes coming into this. It's just that their defense is bad, but they have the offense to be able to beat any team if they can put up enough points. It seems like they need 37 plus points or more to be able to come away with wins, and they've done it 4 times this season, and those games they're winning. So, or at least winning and or tying. They're not losing. They tied when they got 40 against the Packers, when the Packers also put up 40. But I think the Dallas Cowboys get the job done. They get it done at home in front of their fans. They advance to 4-4-1 on the season as Arizona continues to trend the wrong way. But I do think Marvin Harrison Jr. does have a good performance in the loss, which will be good for him and his career trajectory as it currently stands. But that's it for me. As always, you made it to the end. Greatly appreciate it. Comment down below. Who do you like, dislike, and why? Make sure you check out all my predictions for the entirety of this week that came out on Friday. So if you got free time between now and kickoff, this would be the perfect time to do it. But as always, again, if you made it to the end, appreciate it. I'll see you all next time. I'll see you actually on Tuesday for Power Rankings and Week 9 discussion. Have a good one.